Hey guys, we are here with my NHL 19 GM mode wishlist video. I'm only making this video on GM mode and not other modes like Hot or ESHL because I honestly don't feel qualified to talk about those modes because I haven't played them all year. So this is going to be just about GM mode here. I'm going to have 11 things, a list of 11 things that I want to see in NHL 19 GM mode. So the first thing we'll start off with is the thing that I think needs to be fixed the most. Scouting. Alright, so here we are in NHL 18. I'm going to be scouting the DEL for defensemen for 6 weeks for an entire simulation year, and we're just going to skip ahead here to right to the end of the year. And of course, I can win the Stanley Cup when I'm not making a GM mode series, but here we go. So, it's the end of the year now. We've scouted the DEL the entire year for defensemen. There's only 6 defensemen there. You'd think they could uncover all of them, right? Well, not exactly. All the AHL top 2 ones were uncovered, of course. But look at this guy, Samuel Cooper. Scouted 103 times, was not able to be uncovered completely. 94 times. All these players were scouted at least 90 times. And none of their stats are exact. None of them. Besides, I mean, the potentials for a few of these guys are exact, but none of these stats are, completely, exact. So, This is exactly why this needs to be fixed. It needs to be the scouting system needs to be completely reworked in this game. I mean, current scouting system as it is just awful. And look at how MLB The Show does it, right? Once you have a bar completely filled in the green, that guy's as accurate as he can possibly be scouted, right? You have him completely scouted. You don't have to scout him anymore. That, I think, EA needs to take a few tippers actually from Sony here, at least when it comes to scouting and, well, other things too. So, as we all know, this thing's pretty broken. It's been broken since NHL 17, was it, when it was first implemented? And, I mean, NHL 09 had a better morale system than this, so I personally would like to see them go back to either the hot and cold streaks thing, or, like, if it's just based on player performance, then that'd be fine, but none of this. Like, look at this. Like, just team, it's all over the place. It's too random. So, another perfect example of this for MLB. Another thing that MLB beats NHL at. So, if you take a look here, the morale in MLB The Show 17 is done in a way that makes it so the player gains overall if a specific condition is met. They have to be happy in order to be performing, basically. So, as you can see here, the player has to be in their role. They have to be making a certain amount of money. They might want to be close to home, and they have to be performing at a certain level. They have to be healthy. They might want a certain level of coaching, right? There's just so many variables in MLB The Show that make morale good in this game, and none of that is in NHL. It's just all random player meetings, blah, 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 all this. It should be if a certain condition is met, then that player should be happy, right? Simple enough. I think so. Get on it, NHL. All right, so this next one's kind of a minor change, but I would love to see more stat leaders on the home screen. So if you take a look here, obviously you have the normal screen, but then here we have my photoshopped screen. I added the bullets that are on the standings page, and I added them so that you could flip them between goal leaders, point leaders, assist leaders. As you can see here, I mean, I know that 32 assists for Nico Hischier is not more than 54 for Taylor Hall. I'm just showing you the I guess how in technicality that would work, or how I envision that system would work. So, and then you also have the extra stats, which, hits, shots, plus minus, penalty minutes, stuff like that. I want to see more team leader stats on the homepage. Again, small change, but it can make GMO that much better. All right, so the next thing I would like to see, and I literally had to go back into NHL Legacy for this one, the All-Star Game. I'm not entirely sure why they took it away. I mean, it might be because of the format change that took place, like how they went from 5-on-5 to 3-on-3, and with all the different games between the different divisions and all that. But I don't see any reason why at this point, you know, almost, what is it now, 4 years into current gen, 4 or 5 even, there's no reason why they shouldn't have that, you know, at least somewhat figured out by now. So I think it's time that it makes a return. So obviously here we're in the old Vancouver GM mode that we did back in NHL Legacy. And unfortunately, I was trying to get Hensick, Reed Hensick onto the All-Star team, but unfortunately he did not make it. But Vladimir Tarasenko and Hampus Lindholm did. So we're going to be watching them as I talk about the All-Star game. I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It's just like, I wish that it would be back in there because it adds like a personal touch to it, you know? And because especially when you have drafted players, like let's say 4 or 5 years in, who are 80, 89, 90 plus overall, you kind of want to see them, you know, progress through their career, and the All-Star game is another way to do that. So by seeing them in the All-Star game, it's like, oh, this is cool. One of my computer-generated drafted players is in the All-Star game, and with all these other NHL stars that are like real players. Now, obviously, that's why I was going for Hensick in the All-Star game, but you know what I mean. But yeah, that's why I think the All-Star game should make a return in NHL 19. All right, so another thing that I would really love to see in NHL 19, and this isn't really important per se, but I would love to see more customization options in the created team screen, because I mean, the same choices, when you have the same choices of logos for a few years, you know, you kind of want to get something new in there, and maybe get some new fonts in there, like instead of just all the collegiate fonts and the hand script font, you know, all of them, like maybe get another font set in there. And then another thing that you could do, I mean, this might be a long stretch. What I was thinking, maybe like potentially you could import a font from your computer. That would be really cool. All right. I mean, that might be wishful thinking at this point for EA Sports, but that's just an idea that I had, that, you know, to get some more creativity into the create a team part of it. That would be pretty cool to put a import your own font sort of thing. And then the same goes for music. Custom goal songs, custom goal horns. Remember all that from NHL Legacy and from before that, even NHL 12. What could you have done that in? I'm pretty sure. So I would love to see custom music also make a return in NHL 19. So I mean, I really, again, this isn't like adding more customization options isn't really high on the priority list for me, but it would be really nice to see, because, you know, it just gives you more options. The more options, the better generally. And in this case, it is much better. It would be much better for the lack of customization options for some of the things that are in this game, such as mascots. I mean, I know mascots are new, but I would love to see maybe a couple new mascot bodies and heads, and just more customization options in general would be nice. So again, not really anything important, but something that I would love to see. Next thing on the list is practice mode, and this is, I don't really have much to say about practice mode, except this is long overdue. So, I mean, we haven't seen this since old gen, and it's now almost 5 years into current gen, and it's still not in franchise mode. I mean, we have it as its own singular mode, but it's not in franchise mode, where it could actually be useful for, let's say, if I acquire a player in a trade mid-season, and I'm playing games, and I want to figure out how he's going to play before I go into a game situation in the regular season, you know, that could be helpful for that. And then another thing, if you call up a player mid-season from the AHL, or you sign a prospect mid-season so that there's no preseason to test them out, again, another situation where practice mode in GM mode or franchise mode, whatever you want to call it, could be helpful. So I think practice mode needs to make a return to franchise mode this year, no matter what. This is one of the key points for me, I think, because it's long overdue. So practice mode for franchise mode in NHL 19. Alright, so the next thing I would really love to see in NHL 19 is the ability to hire and fire coaches as you can in Eastside Hockey Manager, as you can in MLB The Show, and as you can in almost any sports game, because I feel like coaches are a very key component. I think that putting head coaches or, you know, some form of coaches in NHL 19 would give it just another sense of maybe why is your team failing, and then you could not only look at your roster, but if you don't think anything on your roster is affecting it, then you could fire your head coach, or you could fire your assistant coach, goalie coach, whatever. You know, something that makes it feel like there's another component to your team's success or failures, you know, other than morale or something like that, or players not performing well. Just add another aspect to team performance. So I would really love to see that in NHL 19. Another thing that I think would be a really nice touch to NHL 19 GM mode is if you were to include career milestone notifications, sort of like how they have it in Eastside Hockey Manager, except maybe you want to use, instead of like the news messaging system that they have on Eastside Hockey Manager, which is obviously, I mean, they have something like that with the message center, but it's kind of out of the way, and not a whole lot of people really check it too often. So one thing that I think you could do, instead of using a message center, you could instead use the morale notification things that pop up at the top. And here comes my pro Photoshop skills. Get ready for this. As you can see up here, you have Trevor Hansick, 200 goals. He was a player in the Halifax series that we had, and he scored a lot of goals. So I just figured I would use him as an example here for a career milestone notification. Just stuff like that would make this game so much more enjoyable and so much more, you know, lively. Like, I have no idea whenever my players reach a milestone, unless by chance I'm in a game and then, like, you see this crazy celebration where everyone hugs them and it gives them just a bunch of high fives. Like, that's the only instance where I know someone hit a milestone, and even then, sometimes I don't even know what the milestone is. So I would love to see a milestone notification for players who have just hit milestones, or even for players who are about to hit milestones, so you could go into the game and then play as them and then try to get them that milestone, you know? So just stuff like that would make this game so much better. Okay, so this is a feature I feel like has been missing from NHL for a long time. Transaction logs. Eastside Hockey Manager has it. MLB The Show has it. It's about time NHL 19 gets this feature, because I'm tired of guessing when I acquired a player and what his stats were when I acquired him. That's another thing. You should separate the teams that, like, when a player's traded mid-year, I want to see the separate individual stats from each team. Like, have one team below the other, but keep them next to each other so that, you know, it's obviously the same year. And I want to see the exact numbers that they have put up for my team, not the combined numbers, which, you know, I mean, I guess could be helpful, like maybe if you want to include the combined numbers, but as like a subsection of those combined numbers, maybe you could like press a button on that year to see what teams they played for during that year and the stats that they have for each individual team that they played for. You know, so in case they're traded like maybe 3 times, let's say, they have all 3 teams in that section of stats. I'm not sure if you guys are visualizing what I'm trying to say here, but I'm hoping I'm coming across as clear here, that I want to see those individual stats for each individual team. And yeah, I just feel like transaction logs are really overdue for this game, as are a lot of things. But I just feel like, you know, all right, I'll let you guys in on something here. I am in the process of making a Hall of Fame, GM Mode Hall of Fame video for players who have done well for this channel. And one of the reasons it's not out yet is because I've been having trouble finding the exact stats of players who we traded for. And part of the reason for that is because there's no transaction log. I have to figure out when we acquired them. I have to figure out how many games they played, you know? So that is another thing that definitely needs to be in NHL 19. Next thing I want to see, and you may wonder, why are we in NHL 2K10? This game is almost 10 years old. It probably hasn't been seen for a while, and as you can see, we have a super team here in New Jersey. Ovechkin, Crosby, Parise, Kopitar, Weber, Suter, Niedermeyer, Doughty, Mike Green, Chara, Brodeur. So, and we were like 51 over the cap. I turned, just so you know, I turned off salary cap, and I turned off, I turned on forced trades, rather. And the reason for doing this all is because I wanted to create a super team so I could guarantee the Stanley Cup. Not so that I could see, you know, have the satisfaction of the Devils winning the Stanley Cup, but so that I could show you guys the next feature that I want to see in NHL 18 or NHL 19. And that would be interactive Stanley Cup celebrations. And yes, you heard right, NHL 2K10 has an interactive Stanley Cup celebration. So as we go through the rounds here, I mean, obviously we make it to the finals, sweep through Tampa Bay, sweep through Washington, and we won in 5 games against Boston. And here we are in Game 4, an elimination game in the Stanley Cup Finals. And I fully intend on winning this because I am just about to show you guys the Stanley Cup celebration in here. But we'll look at a few goals here first. Nice goal there by Anze Kopitar, the third line of the New Jersey Devils. And a good pass from Jamie Langenbrunner, number 15 right there on the right wing. Centers that, and then he goes top shelf with it. And I believe that's Eric Stahl right there, number 18. And there's Zdeno Chara in his prime. Mike Green as well when he was like 93 overall. Sidney Crosby going down and feeds Jerome McGinley when he was a 93 overall. Chara, Green over Ovechkin, over to Green, and we'll get to the Stanley Cup final. We'll get to the Stanley Cup celebration in a minute here. I'm just kind of reminiscing here. Pavel Datsyuk, number 17 apparently. And we're just going to kind of speed through the rest of this here. Zach Parise with a nice breakaway goal. And then up next, I believe we have, yes, Jamie Langenbrunner on a breakaway as well. Nice short side shot that goes, well, short side on the St. Louis goaltender. Jamie Langenbrunner with the goal. And then Sid the Kid Crosby with a nice backhander to make it 6-1. And that'll just about do it for the New Jersey Devils to win the Stanley Cup. And the clock winds down, and we have the celebration here. So this is what I think the EA Sports NHL franchise needs. Just another form of interactivity, another form of feeling like you're actually lifting the cup. And this might be, I don't know, good for Be a Pro too as well, but we're focusing on GM mode here. So here, as you can see, you have 4 options. You could kiss the cup, you could raise the cup, you could pass the cup, or you can end the skate around. And obviously there's Patrick Gilliage with the Stanley Cup, the captain of these New Jersey Devils at least. And then I tried giving it to the goaltenders in this, but apparently I guess they're just, I don't know, they're too big to carry it or something. I don't know. The game developers didn't make his animation for it or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, as you can see, the whole team going around here with the Stanley Cup. This is what we need to see in NHL 19. I think it would be just a fresh new celebration, you know, as opposed to the one that's been in the game for the past God knows how long. So I would love to see this. Again, not necessary, but I would love to see this in NHL 19. All right, so finishing off strong here. This is another thing that I think is really important. A history of box scores. MLB has this. Eastside Hockey Manager has this. NHL 2K10 has this. There is no reason why we shouldn't be able to go back into a game that happened like 2 months ago, right? Or even like a week ago, you know, as soon as, or as late as you want to go back into a box score, you should be able to go back into it and see, you know, who got a hat trick that game, or who had a lot of giveaways, or who had the most hits, just whatever. Like, put a box score, just make it so that we could go and check the box score of a game after it's done being simulated, because I'm tired of guessing, you know. I want to see exactly what happened in certain games, you know? Sometimes, like, maybe what if we win like 10 to, or what if I win like 10 to 2 and I simulated a game? I want to see who scored there. I want to see if anyone got a hat trick. I want to see the goalie's save percentages on both sides, you know? Just things like that can, again, a whole bunch of these things can make this game so much better. And you notice the pattern here. A lot, if not all of these things have either been in past EA Sports games or that are in current or past sports games that are not from EA. So it's all of these, pretty much all of these things that I've said are certainly possible. I mean, I don't know how much you could do with the import fonts thing, fair enough, but that's really the only thing I can think of that that might be a complication of some sort, you know? Everything here is, I feel like, perfectly achievable. I'm no coder of games anyway. I know a little bit of Java and all of that, but I don't obviously know how to code as good of a game as I will probably never make as good of a game as EA Sports can in terms of, you know, how the game operates, but I'm pretty sure as professional coders, they can get all that stuff done. So that's just the list of what I expect out of NHL 19 GM mode. Let me know what you guys think should be in NHL 19. Just in general, it doesn't even have to be in GM mode. Let me know what you guys think we should be in Beer Pro. I mean, I have thoughts on Beer Pro as well, but obviously I didn't really focus on that this year. So I just wanted to bring you guys my list of GM mode things that I want. But then obviously go nuts in the comments with Hut, EA SHL, Beer Pro, GM mode, GM connected maybe. Maybe you want to bring that back. So let me know what you guys think of my ideas of what should be in this game. Let me know of what you guys think should be in this game and what you predict will actually be in this game. That's going to be the big one. All right? So here's the list of, again, what I think should be in this game. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.